Today, the semi-truck driver arrested in last week's deadly crash on Highway 285 was formally charged. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Green.
And I'm Kim Christensen. One man died. Another person was seriously hurt. The family of that victim said he was only a few miles away from home when he died in the crash. 9 News reporter Kelly Rinke spoke with Scott Miller's family outside the courtroom.
His wife and daughter told me the irony of his death is that Scott Miller was also a truck driver. As a business owner, they say he stressed the importance of safety in the mountains. The driver of that big rig, investigators say, didn't have a valid commercial driver's license. Scott Miller, who was 64, was with his wife for 46 years. He was a proud father and grandfather. Colorado State Patrol says Ignacio Cruz Mendoza lost control on Highway 285, dumping his load of heavy poles. Miller was killed, and the district attorney's office says 3 others were hurt. The trucking company involved in this crash has a history of violations. Just a few years ago, inspectors at least twice found drivers didn't have the proper license.
My husband would be alive today if there was more accountability on the truckers on the road, and there isn't.
Right now, Cruz Mendoza has been charged with 4 misdemeanors for careless driving. The district attorney's office says they haven't filed more serious charges based on the evidence they have right now, but they could file more charges later on after State Patrol wraps up its investigation. Kim.
Kelly, when you think about this, the family knows so much about truck driving, that experience, and they know that area too.
Yeah, this was really their sole focus when they got outside of that courtroom. They are looking for changes in the laws, and I think that's giving them a lot of healing in their time of grief.
Yeah, they come in very knowledgeable about something like this, but still dealing, and no doubt in shock with what they've just gone through.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kelly. We started the week with some hot weather. Got to 99 degrees by the end of the day yesterday. Well, late afternoon, just 1 degree shy of 100. You might as well just say it was 100. All of that changed, though, when a cold front came in overnight, making a huge drop in temperature. Yeah, this morning, if you're up early, you were seeing temperatures down in the 50s. And we take a live look outside. Beautiful day today. Not as warm, though. It's been a lot cooler today. Kathy's with us now talking about the change, with more changes to come.
It's so great in mid-June to have a day like this. And Tom and Kim, without the wind we had yesterday, remember that?
It's a nice breath of fresh air.
Great day outside.
We got to grab onto these days and hang on to them, because yesterday the wind and the warmth created critical fire danger. A small reprieve, and it's going to be a short reprieve, but we're going to hang on to it as long as we can. Lighter winds and a cool front that was cold enough it actually brought some light snow over the northern mountains earlier this morning. That was kind of a fun treat. Current temperatures 71 in Denver, still mild to the south. You can kind of see where the front has settled in just north of the Pueblo area, but average high is about 84. We came down from 99 to 73 degrees, and that is, I mean, we've had a 20 to 25 degree temperature difference in the last 24 hours. That's pretty substantial. Winds today are coming in straight out of the east, bringing in some low-level moisture, not quite as gusty, but still concerns for high fire danger, with a red flag warning out for the San Luis Valley and a fire weather watch out across the western slope. Severe weather off to the east of us, right along that frontal boundary. Waiting to see if we're going to see a brief shower in Douglas or Elbert County yet tonight. Haven't really seen that materialize just yet, so we'll just kind of continue with a cool, calm evening. We have a warming trend coming up in 48 hours, but scattered storms are back in the forecast tomorrow. I'll have the timing coming up.
Today, we are learning more about the 2 people who died in a plane crash in Steamboat Springs yesterday. The Routt County coroner identified the victims as 67-year-old Dan Dunn and 42-year-old Jessica Melton. The 2 took off from Longmont on their way to Ogden, Utah, when their plane crashed in a mobile home park short of the Steamboat Springs airport. Well, the NTSB has certainly been busy in Colorado of late. They are on the scene there. They are investigating the crash. And 9 News reporter Janelle Finch is also there in that neighborhood where the plane came down yesterday, damaging homes. Janelle?
Tom and Kim, I'm here in the West Acres Mobile Home Park in Steamboat Springs, where neighbors have left a small memorial for those 2 people who crashed in the plane just behind me. We now know from the Routt County coroner who those victims are and that they're both from the Colorado Front Range. Neighbors say flames and smoke filled the sky Monday afternoon after the crash. The plane landed between 4 homes, causing damage to each one. The city says 2 are complete losses. The county coroner identified the victims as 67-year-old Dan Dunn and 42-year-old Jessica Melton. 9 News Investigates found the plane is registered to Dunn. The Steamboat Springs police commander shared his condolences for the loved ones suffering from losses. The city says the NTSB is expected to investigate the crash for the next several days, including what caused the accident. Coming up at 5, I spoke to some of the people living in this neighborhood. I'll have their reactions to having such a tragic incident happen just steps away from their doors. Until then, live in Steamboat Springs, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
All right, Janelle, thanks. We'll see you coming up on 9 News at 5. Yesterday's plane crash at Steamboat Springs, now the 3rd crash to happen in Colorado just in the last 2 weeks, and that certainly seems like a lot in a very short time. But Colorado is one of the most active states when it comes to flying, meaning there exists a higher risk of accidents taking place. Our 9 News aviation expert Greg Feith says these 3 accidents all need to be investigated independently.
You can't just lump them all together and go, oh, little airplanes are falling out of the sky. Each one of those accidents has individual circumstances. It's kind of like having 5 car accidents on I-70. The result was the same. Yeah, you had 5 car accidents, but the initiating factors were all different.
Feith says summertime in Colorado actually makes flying more difficult due to heat being added to our high altitude. He says the key for pilots is preparation, both for the weather conditions and, of course, any issue that pops up with the aircraft itself.
The gunman who killed 5 people at the LGBTQ club in Colorado Springs admitted for the first time today it was a hate crime. Daniel Aston, Kelly Loving, Derek Rump, Ashley Paw, and Raymond Vance Green were killed at Club Q back in November of 2022. 17 others were left with lasting injuries. Today, the shooter pled guilty to federal hate crime charges.
9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry was there in the courtroom this morning. She joins us now live from Denver. Jaleesa, that was followed immediately by sentencing as well.
Yeah, the judge called it unusual to have the plea and the sentencing all in one day, but they say the court had their reasons. The shooter pleaded guilty to federal hate crime charges as well as weapons charges. And with that guilty plea, the person responsible admitted for the first time that the shooting was a hate crime. They faced 74 federal charges and was sentenced to 55 life sentences as well as a 190-year sentence. The plea allowed the shooter to avoid the death penalty. Attorneys say the person shot 60 rounds in less than 60 seconds. The attorneys purposely did not submit any photos or videos for this sentencing because they did not want to glorify this person. In today's hearing, the shooter heard from more than a dozen people who lost loved ones that night or were injured themselves. At least 11 of those people had hoped the death penalty was considered, including survivor Ed Sanders.
I was disappointed because of the death penalty being not offered. But I understand that that's a long process and we really didn't want to go through it. But that's really on our hearts, what we wanted. But we'll take what we can get.
The Justice Department spoke shortly after today's sentencing when asked why they took the death penalty off the table when a number of victims appeared to be in favor of it. This is what they had to say.
For each death-eligible offense, a wide range of factors are considered, and the specific deliberations are internal to the Department of Justice. We are pleased with the severe sentence issued by the court today.
Now, with this plea deal, the shooter waived almost all of its rights for an appeal for any of these federal charges. When the judge asked the shooter if they wanted to speak, they simply said, not at this time. Reporting in Denver, Jaleesa Irizarry, 9 News. And
we turn another page in a grim story here in Colorado. Jaleesa with the sentencing and the convictions today. Thank you.
A swimmer from Colorado has punched her ticket to the Paris Olympics in the final qualifying round of the 100-meter breaststroke. Regis Jesuit alum Emma Weber beat the reigning Olympic champ Lydia Jacoby, and that makes her eligible for a spot on Team USA. Her final time, 1:06:10. How about that? It was like a fraction of a section.
Well, Lily King won the race itself, but
yeah,
by finishing second, she qualifies for the team. Emma Weber does, but she aced out Lydia Jacoby, who certainly has been one of the best at it in the world for years now. So quite a swim. People describe it as her swim of a lifetime.
Yeah.
To get on that Olympic team.
How
going
about
to
that?
Paris.
Regis has had some successful swimmers. I heard that Missy Franklin girl ran a few gold medals.
She was good in high school. I don't know what happened after that, but she was a very good high school swimmer, yes.
She'll be there. No doubt talking about Emma, because that's what she's doing, right? She's working as a commentator for the Olympics. So